Apple is about to make its boldest iPhone move in years, and if this leak is accurate, it comes with a shocking twist. Apple's most expensive iPhone ever may not unlock with Face ID. Meet the rumored iPhone Ultra, Apple's first foldable iPhone, expected to debut at the September 2026 iPhone event with a starting price around $19,990. That's flagship money on an entirely different level. But here's the real headline. To make the foldable dream possible, Apple may be cutting or changing features many iPhone users consider non-negotiable. So before you start saving or pre-ordering, let's break down the biggest leaked specs, the biggest sacrifices, and the most important question. Should you buy the iPhone Ultra or stick with the iPhone 18 Pro lineup? Let's start with the design, because that's where everything else seems to change. According to multiple supply chain style reports, the iPhone Ultra is built around extreme thinness, reportedly around 4.5mm when unfolded. That would make it the thinnest iPhone Apple has ever made by a huge margin. But that ultra-thin chassis creates a major problem. No Face ID on the iPhone Ultra. Leak. Face ID relies on Apple's true-depth camera system, multiple sensors, depth, mapping components, and hardware that takes space. If the Ultra really is that thin, Apple reportedly can't fit the full Face ID stack inside the frame. So what replaces it? Touch ID returns on Apple's most premium iPhone. The leak suggests Apple is bringing back Touch ID, built into the power button, similar to what Apple already does on the iPad Air and iPad Mini. Think about how wild that is. The most expensive iPhone Apple has ever made, an ultra-tier foldable, possibly unlocking with a fingerprint instead of a glance. It's a throwback, but also a practical engineering decision if the foldable design can't support Face ID hardware. And for longtime iPhone fans, it's a major moment. Touch ID disappeared from Apple's premium iPhones years ago, and now, it may return at the very top of the lineup. Now let's talk cameras, because this is where the iPhone Ultra leak gets even more controversial. iPhone Ultra camera leak, 2 rear cameras, no telephoto. The rumored setup includes 2 rear cameras, wide 48MP ultra-wide, and that's it. No telephoto lens. No optical zoom. For a $119.99 iPhone, that's a serious compromise. If you're someone who shoots portraits, concerts, sports, travel shots, or anything where zoom matters, losing telephoto means you're mostly relying on digital zoom and cropping. And that's not the same thing as true optical zoom. The reason, according to the leak? The telephoto module takes space. Apple allegedly tested rival foldables and still couldn't make a telephoto system fit the Ultra's thin design. So yes, you may be getting an engineering masterpiece foldable that zooms like a non-pro iPhone. But here's the part that sounds very Apple. Even with those compromises, Apple apparently fought hard to include one specific feature. Camera control button. Stays, even if it costs the SIM slot. The iPhone Ultra is rumored to keep the dedicated camera control button, the shutter-style control Apple introduced recently on newer iPhones, and according to the leak, Apple prioritized that button specifically for foldable usability, because taking photos, one-handed on a big foldable screen, can be awkward. A dedicated camera control gives you a more stable, more natural way to shoot, especially with the phone partially unfolded or used like a mini tablet. But to make room for that hardware, the leak claims Apple is going all in on something else. iPhone Ultra may be eSIM only, all regions. No physical SIM tray. That means eSIM only worldwide, not just in the US. If this happens, it's a major shift for travelers and anyone who swaps SIM cards frequently, especially in regions where eSIM support still isn't universal across all carriers. For some people, eSIM only is no big deal. For others, it's an instant deal breaker. Next, if you love variety, you might not love this. Only 2 colors at launch. Leak. The iPhone Ultra is rumored to launch in just 2 color options. A silver-white finish in indigo, or deep blue-like finish. That limited selection could be a supply chain decision, a premium Ultra branding move, or simply Apple keeping early manufacturing simpler for a first-generation foldable. Either way, if you're used to Apple offering multiple Pro colors, This could feel surprisingly restricted, especially at ultra pricing. Now let's talk about availability, because even if you want one, you might not be able to get one. iPhone Ultra shortages could last through 2026. The leak-driven analyst chatter suggests Apple may struggle with early production yields and ramp-up. Translation: the foldable iPhone could be hard to manufacture at scale, especially with a complex hinge system and a high-end foldable display. Some estimates suggest total orders sound huge on paper, but are actually spread across the device's full life cycle. And the first-year output may be significantly lower than people expect, meaning early buyers could face limited pre-order stock-long shipping delays, region-by-region availability, waves potential price pressure staying high due to scarcity. So if the iPhone Ultra launches in September 2026, the easy-to-buy period might not arrive until well into 2027. Now let's get to the number everyone cares about. iPhone Ultra price leak. $199,999 starting price. The rumored entry price is around $1,999 for 256 GB. That's roughly an $800 premium over a typical Pro Max tier iPhone. And for that jump, you may be giving up. Face ID telephoto camera, physical SIM tray, broader color choices. So what are you actually paying for? What you're really buying? The foldable experience. The rumored highlights of the iPhone Ultra are big: a 7.8-inch inner display for a tablet-like experience, a 5.5-inch outer display for normal phone use, an A20 Pro chip, reportedly based on a 2nm. Process a titanium frame, a hinge engineered to reduce the crease as much as possible. In other words, the iPhone Ultra isn't trying to be the best iPhone Pro Max. It's trying to be a brand new category, an iPhone that becomes an iPad-sized screen in your pocket. If that's your dream device, the Ultra might feel worth it. But if you want the most complete, most practical everyday flagship, the leaks suggest Apple may still be pointing you toward the Pro line. iPhone 18 Pro versus iPhone Ultra, which should you buy? If the iPhone Ultra and iPhone 18 Pro launch side by side in September 2026, the decision may come down to one question. Do you want a foldable screen badly enough to accept major trade-offs? Because the iPhone 18 Pro and Pro Max are expected to keep the features power users rely on: Face ID, telephoto zoom, more conventional camera flexibility, likely more colors, potentially fewer compromises overall, dramatically lower starting price than $1,999 for most people, especially anyone who takes lots of photos, needs reliable biometric unlock, or wants the best value. The iPhone 18 Pro lineup may be the smarter upgrade. But for early adopters, travelers who want a pocket-sized productivity screen, and anyone who's been waiting years for Apple to enter, foldables, the iPhone Ultra could be the most exciting iPhone launch in a decade. One last thing that matters: none of this is confirmed. Apple hasn't officially announced the iPhone Ultra, a foldable iPhone, or any of these specs. Everything here is based on leaks, supply chain reporting, and analyst predictions, and Apple can still change the plan before launch. But if these leaks are even close to accurate, the iPhone Ultra is shaping up to be Apple's most ambitious iPhone ever. And also its most controversial. A $1,999 foldable iPhone with Touch ID, no Face ID, no telephoto zoom, and eSIM only, packed into a titanium body with a massive inner display. The question is simple. When Apple finally reveals the iPhone Ultra in September 2026, will it feel like the future of the iPhone, or a first-generation experiment that costs too much and compromises too much? Stay tuned, because the foldable iPhone era at Apple might be closer than anyone expected.